Welcome back, y'all, to Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, back here on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Of course, we are being blessed with more weather to get out there and do our thing and get everything you need. If it's last minute, cleaning up for getting ready for the fall. If not, getting that grass and everything ready. Do want to make sure that we are getting out there and exercising first, running, jogging. Hey, look, I did a little short sprint Sunday night. I'm still feeling the soreness of it, but I had to get up. I hadn't did a full run in a while, so I had to get up. Not a jog, but I ran
How
across.
far you run?
It was probably across the street. I ran. I think it was probably like 60, 70 yards, probably back both each ways. It was just a nice little sprint, just going back and forth. Yeah, full. And then I went back the other way, back from the car, and ran another. It was across grass though, but I was just praying that I wasn't about to hit one of the miscalculated dips. So I had some shoes on every time. It felt like I was in tune with the ground. So every time that I hit the ground, I felt like I was maneuvering with whatever the adjustment was. Because I've been there too many times playing and twisted that one and came out. Yeah. But I just had to get that run in, man. But I'm feeling it from all the way up to the top and all the way to the back. So I kept figuring out why am I so sore. But yeah, please get out there, do a little cardio, a little running.
Stretch.
Yes,
you gotta stretch. You can't just go run and then do the stretch. You might pull something.
I know. We've seen what happened earlier this year back in March when it came with me playing basketball and thinking I had stretched enough of my Achilles. So yeah, I just want to always promote, everybody getting out there and exercising and taking care of yourself. We got a lot of folks here that are, in between, that youth and that getting across the hump. So we got to make sure, even for the ones in our age group, that they stay working on themselves. So
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I noticed you have LANISHA here.
Yeah.
LANISHA, what's going on? You're all dialed up and everything. What's happening?
Man, not much, man.
Did you notice it, Jermaine?
I did.
No.
I was noticing that her eyelashing is lashing.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
she lashed up.
Oh, them eyelashing is lashing out
Dude,
here,
Yeah,
man.
man. I had got
Something
them done last
Skin
week.
glowing.
Yeah. What's on the shirt? What's that on the shirt? What's that?
Oh, this a Jordan shirt. It's the 6-ring shirt.
Oh,
Michael Jordan.
yeah. She doing things.
Rings
Yeah.
on.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen you in a while. So is this,
Oh, yeah,
this
y'all
is what
missed me.
LANISHA doing now?
Yeah, she out here catching, man. She out here
You see
fishing.
it, B? You see it, B?
No.
You should have
Yeah.
warned
Oh,
us,
yeah.
man.
Hey, look.
Oh, man.
Hey, look. You know what, Nisha? I see Nisha do her thing so
Nails
much.
popping.
Since I met Nisha, she always be on point. So Nisha she be with it. With she come through even at our gala. She had this cold little fit. I'm like, Nisha, I like that. I have to tell her, smoothest, probably the cleanest woman in the building, doing her thing. So, but Nisha
Yeah,
come down
I'm
on plenty levels, whether it's the gala attire or she coming with a fresh pair of Jordans and something clean. She is on point with the shoe game, all that.
Yeah.
We ain't heard. That's how.
I hadn't looked at the shoes.
Yeah, what? You better check Nisha's shoes up.
You know what I'm saying?
Nisha always got a fresh pair.
Yeah, I'm trying.
You
I
want me
got
to
a
pan
shoe
down on the
fetish,
shoes?
y'all.
Come on, Nisha, go ahead. Real quick.
Get a
Yeah.
quick pan
She
on
out
the
here
shoes.
Jordan out.
Oh, bam. Hang on. Let me get
Yeah, I gotta keep
Yeah,
up. I have to
you
get my
catch them
Jordan
Jordan.
game up. Keep up
Oh,
with Nisha.
these I caught these when they came out. So they came. When did these come out? These came out about like a year ago.
I was about to say, yeah, I seen them out there like a year or so ago.
About a year ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
That's
got
one
a
to put in
shoe
the
fetish.
closet for the fall
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
a good fall
Yeah,
right
it
there
is.
too. Yeah,
It is.
you got to get them for the time of the year. You got to have the ones that got those like the olives for the fall and
Yeah.
the room, the darker
Yeah,
colors,
darker
and then you
colors,
got
and
to
then
get
them whites for the summer.
whites and them colorful joints for the
Yeah.
summer and all that. Yeah,
So yeah, this weekend I kind of went through all my summer stuff and try to, get it out the closet and put it up and just, put that summer stuff up, pulling that fall stuff out, man. It was a lot, but it looked like I need to probably keep the summer stuff out for another week.
Probably another 2 weeks. 'Cause,
Yeah.
from what they're saying that it's supposed to be warm these next 2 weeks.
we're gonna take all that in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We'll take
enjoy
it
it
all
for real
in.
because it's about to be super cold.
Yeah,
It's about to
absolutely.
be super cold.
So, I didn't even do the official opening. You're on Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Bryan Sanders, community outreach organizer, alongside Miss
LANISHA Martin, communications manager with Wisconsin Voices.
Yes. So Nisha, we just been having a lot of little stuff going on across the city, whether it's just the events and all that. Would you like to share some of the things you did? Because we didn't get to talk to you yesterday, of course. But how was your weekend? We didn't get to talk to you.
It was cool. I really, like I said, I was in the house like going through clothes, trying to put the summer clothes up, pull out the fall stuff,
Yeah.
just really cleaning up. That's what I was doing over the weekend. My son went to Harvest Fest. He said it was fun. My nieces took him up there. I didn't go. I just stayed home to clean. But
Yeah.
yeah, they went to Harvest Fest. They said they liked it better than State Fair. Wasn't many people. It
Mhm.
was still, a lot
Chill.
going on, a lot
Yeah.
of food. So yeah, they enjoyed that. But yeah, my weekend was really, I ain't pretty much do nothing. I had to just get my house together, man. Because
Mhm.
I be on the move, doing a lot, working a lot.
Yeah, you always out.
So
So yeah, anytime you got to
yeah.
sit down, we
Yeah.
always in the mix. So anytime, especially yourself, trying to hop in the mix with you. So I know, you always out, times 2, times 3, times 4. So it's great that, you get some time to take care of yourself and do a little
Yeah.
self-care, because that's
Yeah.
where it starts at home. We got to keep our home base, our headquarters clean and on point, so we can be able to be active and productive out here in the community. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's for everybody. We all got to keep our spaces at home, in a place where we can actually come home and relax and feel like we got a place to think, instead of just
Yeah.
always tripping over stuff. And and I'm
Yeah,
guilty of that
for
sometimes
sure.
too myself. We had some things going on locally too as well. Just as far as like I know we didn't get to the local and political topics yesterday, but just to kind of shoot out a few things that was hot, or that have been hot the last week or so in the news. We talking about the Milwaukee City budget debate, and of course the analysis of the mayor's proposed budget, including potential increases in taxes, property tax levy and fees, garbage, vehicle registration, and its plan to close the $100 million budget gap. So that'll be in the conversation a lot. That is a big thing here in Milwaukee. On top of us, looking to see more employment, more opportunities here, and seeing tax increases on the other end, that could be, a huge issue here in our city within our taxpayers and our citizens who are looking for employment. As far as sales tax and pension pay, controversy and discussion over how the new 2% sales tax revenue from Wisconsin Act 12 is being spent, particularly concerning police and fire department staffing mandates. And I think that we should always look at how that is going. If our money is going in a weird spot and it's really not being thrown back into the community, or the community service members are not handling the community and they're getting paid to handle the community like that, we definitely need to look at it as well. But it's saying they're looking at how that's being spent, with the fire department, staffing mandates, pension payments, and pay raises for city employees, public safety and crime. As far as the efforts to combat reckless driving, I know you've probably seen that they did put out the spectators $500 to $1,000 fine, I believe, or $300 to $500 fine for spectators. It might have been $500 to $1,000 fine for spectators. With the car, with the car shows, or how they, not the car shows, but the meetups,
donuts and stuff.
Mhm.
I've kind of see. I watched one of those, and they wasn't doing no violence. They were just having fun. I feel like they need to designate
An area
for them to do that, because they really was just enjoying themselves, having fun. They wasn't killing each other. I mean, it ain't really nothing to do for real in the city. If that's something they enjoy doing, I think they should find a spot like at Midtown parking lot.
Yeah,
I don't know,
about that
but somewhere where they can enjoy and do that. They would have to have security, but I mean, they wasn't killing nobody. They wasn't doing nothing like selling drugs. They wasn't killing nobody. They would just really enjoy themselves. And I figured that, I mean, we should try to find other, ways to let them, enjoy themselves, find something to do without,
I got nothing wrong with it. If it's gonna be anything to keep them safe and out the way and they enjoy itself, but then it turns into other things. So I think they don't want to do that, because it can ignite, other energy. Like, oh man, they letting us do it now. We can get a little reckless and do it over here. Yeah,
true,
I mean, that's how
they
think. That's how. Yeah, that's that's how. Of course, we wouldn't think like that.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
I know it's a tough one. Yeah, especially when you're trying to, like you said, somebody like you who advocates for youth and having fun, and myself included, and being youth and being out there in traffic and doing things like that as young adults. It is important for the young adults to have a space for them to go to, so they can, we've needed that more spaces. We was blessed to have the little clubs and teen clubs had. But also we needed more spaces for the ones who didn't like teen clubs, who didn't like this and that. A lot of them folks I grew up with, they didn't care about no teen clubs. Or some people I went to school with, and people that I know, you had the more introverted folks that would rather like go to like a function for young professionals when they was in school,
or more
Pokemon,
Yu-Gi-Oh,
or Dragon Ball, or more sports related events and things like that, which they have tons of that. But I think we need to have and keep servicing different dynamics of entertainment for all the different type of youth we have. In
and
the
then
city.
State Fair got like a racetrack. I feel like they should utilize that. Like,
Milwaukee Mile is kind of strict. They wouldn't even let T-Pain with his event. He had issues with them in West Dallas and security and all that with the event he just had. So I think they may be a little funny with certain groups of minorities establishing location at the what you call it, the mile. What do you call it? The Wisconsin Mile, the Milwaukee Mile. So yeah, I guess it really depends on who you are and who the connection is. But I can see West Dallas wanting to do anything out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You already know that's West Dallas, so they already be funny with people from the city, to say the least. So public safety and crime, like we were talking about that, efforts to combat reckless driving, traffic calming measures, and red light camera proposals, funding for police recruitment to meet more state mandates, and a city strategy for dealing with high profile crime incidents are all on the table. I know I've seen something where they keep advocating for these facial recognition, or no, for data, cell phone data. That was the thing I seen in an article, and I want to talk about that.
Or like if you your call longer than 10 minutes.
No, they wanted something. They just want stronger information. And maybe I could pull it up while we on air before our guests come on. But they wanted stronger information or more information, or maybe have more open or easier, I guess, access to cell phone tracking or something like that. I guess I gotta look into it. But I seen an article that popped up for it, and it was something that Milwaukee was trying to do. Oh, but we go into that too. But this right here is just talking about things that's included in like the bill and what they're looking for as far as, of course, that we've seen the traffic calming measures. We've seen they want to do the red light cameras proposals. I don't know if that'll be beneficial.
I think
especially with everybody without license plates.
Yeah, I think that
combat the license plate situation first. Milwaukee, City of Milwaukee Police Department, and then let's talk about getting traffic cameras if they all really want to go that route. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, why are we talking about traffic cameras and have the people who don't even have updated plates or plates that belong to their car? Make it make sense, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
City of Milwaukee.
Golly. That's true though.
Yeah.
And most of the people who is doing a reckless driver don't got plates.
Yeah.
You can't. They don't know who driving the car, or it's probably stolen.
And if y'all want to talk about certain type of plates to catch or traffic cameras and catching folks, I mean, you might want to be a little more creative than the traffic plates, the traffic lights. I mean, I don't know what it would be. I would just say pick another route. I don't get paid to do that part of the job, but I would say find another lane, because the traffic camera is probably not going to work. You might have worked in 2008, 2009 Milwaukee, not in 2024, 2025 Milwaukee. So just saying. Another one is the infrastructure and development, which I am a big fan of. But this one is actually talk about Caledonia. There's discussions on major city projects like the potential Microsoft data center in Caledonia, federal funding cuts to local infrastructure projects like the 6th Street construction and initiatives to expand affordable housing. Education is mentioned, funding battles and issues facing Milwaukee public schools, including the impact of federal funding cuts to specific programs, like for those who our students are deaf, blind, and student safety concerns, which is another topic. So we'll be seeing a lot of these coming down as well.
What you think about the new, like, how they doing streets now? Like, I feel like everything that was 2 lanes turned into 1 lane. How you feel about that?
The infrastructure, definitely an infrastructure thing. I believe that it has definitely, right after. Yeah, I'll tell her we're going to have her on and right after the break. Third, thank you. Yeah, I believe it slowed the traffic. It slowed the way we get around the city big time.
Yeah.
Not even just the it just slowed the flow of traffic. So I feel like it's like 5 or 10 minutes longer to get to certain places in the north side. What you think?
I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling that 1 lane thing. And I just feel like, okay, if it is a high speed chase, it's more dangerous with the 1 lane, because now people can't get over and let them pass. So if they go smash in the back of somebody. So I hate it.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that in a dire situation, in a situation where it is a traffic situation that could be catastrophic, we have no space for us to move, like you said. And I think about that all the time, specifically in spaces like 60th and Mill Road, where that corner right there, they put those up. And I was happy for them to repave that space, because that road was trash. But once they repaved it, and then they added the markers and all that, it just changed. And I understand for the residents and Job Corps and everybody that's over there on that side of town, and all the other places too that live on these busy streets. I just think that this remind me of like like Washington D.C. and how they set up their traffic and stuff like that.
They got a lot of roundabouts.
Yeah, roundabouts and little concrete pillars and things like that. I mean, I guess it's a way to calm the traffic in a sense, but you still creating I mean, it's creating more debris and trash in the streets as well. I mean, the concrete is already chipped off in a lot of these street calming spaces. It definitely does not add a lot of aesthetics to the city when you got concrete and debris. And then if we're going to have these pieces in the street, are we going to clean up? I mean, we looking at litter all through the city now, but I mean, just looking at this park right here across the street from the radio station is from the studio, but we got a lot of places where that trash is in between these concrete calming curves and little dips and all that, and we need those places, those areas cleaned out too.
So I don't see why they just don't hire some people to just clean the city.
I got folks that they can put on papers that that's on papers that they can get to do certain stuff in the city, more community service. I would vouch for definitely if you out here and you're not a violent offender to a certain extent. Yeah, get them folks out here, have them clean. And, you know, have them clean out, have them do some cleanup, you know, for community service, especially these young adults. The city could be way cleaner. I don't know what's going on with community service in the city, especially for, you know, offenders or reoffenders when it comes to, you know, I think that cleaning up would be the perfect thing. Or more of that if they're not doing it. I know a lot of cities and states take advantage of that, but I think they should do that here more if they're not doing it that much, especially for the young adults who would probably see the city different if they would be out here cleaning up for 2-3 hours in one spot, so, or have some time to really think. So,
no, for real.
But before we had went on break, I know one thing that caught my attention yesterday, which is important because it affects us all here in the state of Wisconsin, was the just the conversation with the Miller Park, and so far Miller Park has put a fraction of a dent into, or sorry, not Miller Park, but American Family Stadium has put a fraction of a dent into that $500 million that the state, that Governor Evers signed over to, you know, for them to put into their, you know, to keep the city here, to keep the team here, they have to do this, that, you know,
they got to keep them here.
Yeah, so last year, whenever that was, they did that. So they spent so far, Milwaukee Brewers or the American Family, they spent, I believe they said about 10 million out of that 500 million that they have through 2050 to pretty much update the stadium. I'm just telling this for folks that your money is being spent out there. Please take advantage of the places that your tax money is being spent. So American Family, you know, getting outside, hitting these parks and things like that. Just a reminder that, you know, through 2050, your money will be going towards American Family stadium. So just make sure that you are taking advantage of those new things that they brought in there, even if it's just walking around there after you leave Potawatomi, because I know some of y'all be hitting Potawatomi. So I was just letting you know that, you know, they've, some of those new those new features you see out there are included in what they've added to American Family. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So like I said, they got like $480 more million to spend, you know, about 490 maybe, if they only spent, I think they said they only spent like 10 million of it so far out there at American Family. So it's 10 million and counting.
Put that back in the community.
That's exactly, I was on the phone yesterday talking to a friend, and I was telling her that I said that money could be used all throughout Milwaukee County. You know, I would love to see what a county supervisor or somebody would do if they had the opportunity, or anybody to you know, do something with that money. So, but that was my little updates of topics, you know, just to kind of talk about a couple of those. I think it's time for a little break so we could bring on Miss Crystal. You got anything else before we go to break?
No, we can go on break.
Jermaine, can we go on break, my brother?
Let's do it.
Let's do it then. Be a Voice Radio Wisconsin Voices alongside Brian and Miss LANISHA. Your what's your title again? Communications manager and the community outreach organizer. We'll be right back with Crystal Crowell from DC to talk about what she got going on out there. Okay. All right, y'all. Welcome back. Be a Voice Radio Wisconsin Voices here with Brian Sanders, community outreach organizer for Wisconsin Voices, along with co-host Miss LANISHA Martin.
Communications manager.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So, yeah, we back on. Thank y'all for coming back with us. So, we are going to bring in our guest, Crystal.
Can you hear us, Crystal?
She hears.
Yes, I can hear you.
What's up? Hey. Happy Tuesday to you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for coming to Be a Voice Radio. I have to make sure that we got you on. You're on here with the team over here in Milwaukee, Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices, WNOV. So we just want to make sure we got our people, our strong Black leaders over there in DC doing their thing. And we've been just talking to folks for the last week, 2 weeks actually, but who were going to be there. I know I wanted you last week, but I'm glad I was able to get you this week. And then of course to our people who have attended or were doing any type of forums. And I think you're our first one that we've talked to who actually has did a event out there. But before we get to that, I want to make sure I introduce you properly on the radio show. So our guest today is Ms. Crystal Crowell, an award-winning social impact strategist, speaker in the reigning Miss Black District of Columbia USA 2025, Miss DC 2025. Shout out to you. She's also the founder of Reading Through Resilience, an initiative that has already touched the lives of hundreds of young people throughout book clubs, school partnerships, and literacy campaigns that highlight identity, healing, and representation. With a professional background as both a social worker and therapist, Crystal has built her work on blending style, storytelling, and service to create transformational change. Her signature initiative, Resilience Through Reading, is not only about literacy, it's about empowering youth to see themselves in the stories they read and giving them tools to heal and grow. We're excited to have you on Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices. Good morning, Crystal. How you doing?
Morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great.
Yeah, I'm glad to get you in and have you on the radio over here in Milwaukee. So gonna get to it. Crystal, you're an award-winning social impact strategist and therapist. How did your professional journey lead you to create Reading Through Resilience?
Yeah, so really my professional journey and my pageant journey kind of came together. And that's where this initiative came from. Like I said, my background is in social work. That's where my undergrad and my master's degree is in. And my minor is in nonprofit management. And when I started doing pageantry, we had to do like a platform. And my first title, our platform was anti-bullying. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of put my own spin on it, and I was going to Black organizations and talking about bullying within the context that no one was speaking to these kids about it. I was talking to about what bullying looks like when colorism is involved, what bullying looks like when it comes with, racial microaggressions. And those things really aren't touched out in most of these curriculums. And so I was really able to connect with these kids in a new way and build partnerships with these organizations. And then later, many of those organizations came back to me about doing consulting, and that's how I got started as a consultant. And so really that kind of work has transformed in my passion for literacy and for improving children's mental health through literacy, especially in our community, has really just grown throughout the years, and this work has expanded with it.
Thank you. I like that. Appreciate that. Right. Yes, we need that. We've been looking at I've seen the literacy numbers, just the even here in Milwaukee, and it's so much that's needed. And I'm hoping that, this is an inspiring interview for anybody just hearing that intro right there into how she got into that. So thank you for that part.
Yeah.
Nisha, on to you.
Yeah. So your background as a social worker and therapist clearly informs your approach. How do those skills influence the way you design programs and connect with the youth?
Yeah, I think it really allows me to look at it from both lenses and look at it from the clinical, the back end, and the academic aspect of what are the interventions that really do make a difference, what is going to address these issues. Mm-hmm. And then on the other aspect, I think that I have a lot of experience working with kids and working with youth, and I get to do that in my day job as a social worker, but I do that a lot as a title holder. And so I think I've just really built up a natural relationship, and I've been able to really use their own interests as a way to have these positive experiences. And so that's why I think reading is so accessible is because no matter what you're interested in, there's going to be a book about it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's fact.
so true.
You literally is a book about everything,
Yeah,
the craziest stuff. That's how you can find your interest. The people that don't like to read or struggling with reading, especially for the young adults, just give them a book or something that they like, and it's over. Yeah, that's all. One of the books I read as a young kid, I think I was just caught up in the craziness of just like TV shows and violence. But one of the first books that I remember reading in like 3rd or 4th grade was a scholastics book, and it was called Drive By, and it's still for sale. I looked it up. It's a book for real, but it was a book that caught my attention because it was action packed. You know, this is like 4th grade. Mr. Brown. I don't know where Mr. Brown at. Shout out to Mr. Brown. But yeah, 4th grade scholastics. I bought this book and it was just interesting. The story in there was a little more adult. It was probably meant for like a 16, 17-year-old, but it was in a 4th grader scholastic. So I got them to buy it for me. And yeah, I liked it. You know, I still got that book somewhere.
So they was talking about a drive-by?
Yeah, it was a basketball player. Yeah, it was a basketball player and all some type of crazy stuff. I'm gonna find it and bring it in. You can look it up too.
You know what? I think I read that book too.
You probably seen it. It's got like the little somebody with the foot hanging at the end, and then it's a car leaving the scene. It's like a dark purplish black cover. I'm sure you've seen this book.
It sounded like it was a movie too.
It should have been a movie actually. Somebody should have. I gotta find them. Like, you didn't turn this into a script.
One of the books that I enjoyed as a kid that got me like really into like liking to read was Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies.
You read that?
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh yeah, it was good.
Crystal, you know Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, I remember we had to read that one in school.
Yeah. That was one.
I had to. One was Laura Ingalls Wilder. It was crazy. It was the in the woods. It was called Laura Ingalls. I think it was Ingalls Wilder or something like that. It was about a family in the Oregon Trail time. It was a crazy book. We read that in like 3rd grade. Or it was it had us reading all these super thick books, and then we'll come back and read about them. So it helps. Like, literacy is important. They was really stressing it for us. So I'm glad to hear that you doing your thing out there. So back to you, Crystal. You've been described as blending style. Storytelling, and service. How do these 3 elements show up in your professional work?
Yeah, I think storytelling is at the core of what I do, either with my platform, Resiliency Reading. Obviously, literacy is based around stories. But even in my work as a social worker and a therapist, that's what I'm doing. I'm hearing people's stories. I'm giving my clinical opinion based on their stories. I'm helping them as a therapist rewrite their own story or rewrite how they feel about their story. And so I really think that where our culture lives, especially in the Black community, is in storytelling. And so I like to bring that aspect into everything I do. And I think, our people, we always like to come with a little flair and a little pizzazz. And I think that sometimes when people think like literacy or mental health, it's so boring and it's so flat clinical that I really like to show up as myself so other people feel comfortable showing up as their selves.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Right. Yes.
So when you take on new initiatives or projects, what's your process for making sure it's both impactful and sustainable?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think sustainability in this climate is a tricky one. Especially here in DC, I'm not sure I think anything right now is sustainable. I'm gonna keep it honest with you.
Y'all living, it's real out there. We watching y'all very close. We've been watching it very close.
Yeah, so I don't think that anything truly, honestly, out here is sustainable. If you would have asked me that maybe a few months ago, I would have answered different. But impactful, I really try and look at like what is the impact we're making? Where's the intervention? Where's the change? And make sure we're focusing on that and growing that, and not just kind of the aesthetics or the ad. People want to post on Instagram or all these things and caught up in the fluff, but making sure that like real work is being done is really important to me. And having had the background in this, I feel like I know what real work looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you look. I feel like y'all getting tested right now with real groundwork looks like. I've seen it in so many areas of just the folks over there like yourself that are actually having to adjust how they do their events or how they move with the new scene, to say the least. Yeah. So I do commend y'all from being able to flex and flow, as we have said over here with our job and the work that we do. When new challenges pop up, you just gotta sometimes strategize, and I feel like y'all I got a nice support. It seems like the leadership, and it's like a lot of people in leadership that support each other in DC. Is that correct? I kind of get that vibe over there. Is that something that I'm reading right over there? It seems like y'all have a good support system over there.
Yeah, I think we're building the supports. I think it's really, issue to issue sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think I think overall, the people here aren't sticking their head in the sand, and I think that's what's different than other places.
Yeah, so you feeling a little more Black unity within the with the changes and things that's going on over there with the federal quote unquote takeover.
Yeah, it's just been, I feel like our people have scattered. But we had the 8th Street Festival, which is a big street festival here in DC a few weeks ago, and it really felt like everybody was out. It felt like the community was there. We were going all night. It was a good time. But it's definitely been hard. It's definitely been hard to see my city be stressed like that, and to see my community be affected. And, all these issues in literacy are so interconnected with the economy and with other social issues, and to see the layoffs that have been going on here. I myself got laid off earlier this year. As well as this looming shutdown, it's just getting a little trickier by the day.
Yeah. So again, we're gonna be continuously praying for y'all. I got, like yourself, more lovely people over there that's in the mix and hitting from different angles. So definitely be praying for y'all. And one thing I do see about DC, it's always a bunch of job openings. So man, I mean, look, it looked like it's even though it's a lot going on. When I looked at job leads, I seen a whole bunch pumping in DC. I'm like, okay, it's a lot going on out there when it comes to folks, and because with the communities and trying to tap in with people here that's looking to get into the work. Some people are looking to go national to work with certain organizations so they can help with this fight, with whether it's campaigning or getting out here doing some some organizing in certain spaces. So is it back on me now?
I can go.
Go ahead, please.
As a strategist, how do you measure success beyond numbers when it comes to social impact programs?
So my own personal measure of success when I'm impacting on my work, I always said if I can make someone's life or day at least 1% better, then I've done my job. I'm a bigger in the compound effect, where if you double a penny every day for 30 days, like by the end of it, you end up like 17 million or something ridiculous. But it shows how things compound. And so I just think if I can be that 1% to help compound, then I think that we can compound a better future for ourselves. I'm a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
Gotta shout them out. Gotta shout them out. So our motto is greater service, greater progress. I like that. And that's really something I embody.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Greater service, greater progress.
Yeah, I like that. You said greater service, greater progress. Is that what it is? Yeah, I like that. That's dope. Like that shout out to your sorors. I said it right. Sorors.
Yep.
Okay. Sorors. Yeah.
So one of my other panelists was a fellow soror of mine too. So that was really amazing to bring her on for the event.
Yeah, we definitely get into that. We just starting you up. We were just warming you up. We still got a little time left, so we just have to warm you up. So we before we go to the commercial break, got one more question for you in this space. What's one professional lesson you learned that completely changed the way that you approach this work?
Don't be too green.
That's real. That's real.
Don't be too green. I'm a really nice person, and so I think that when you want to believe in the best in people, it can talk you out of your intuition sometimes. And I think for me, it's balancing that with, I can always believe in the best in people, but if I see something, to just clock it and make note of it, and just not to be too green.
I like that. Right. Don't be naive out here and just get played for whatever just thrown your way. And I think that's a conversation. I was telling somebody, was I talking to you last week? I was calling somebody green. I don't know. I was talking to somebody. Somebody called somebody green, or they can, realize somebody when they real green. So yeah, so that's good. That's great advice for everybody out here. Don't get played out here trying to help. Some people like to take advantage of that especially when they see you in a space of you're really passionate and you are concerned, and then that person may play like they are, like we see sometimes across the state and across the country. So yeah, that's great advice. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break, real quick, and then we'll be right back to finish up our conversation. We're gonna go into just talking a little bit about you and some CBC weekend stuff. So we'll see you in a second, Crystal, and for the rest of y'all listeners, we'll be back on Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices in a minute.
We are here, WNOV, Be a Voice Radio, 860 AM, 106.5 AM. I'm here, I guess, my host, not the co-host, Bryan Sanders.
I'm still your co-host.
We here with Crystal Crowell. How you say it? I'm sorry.
Crowell, yeah.
Crowell.
There you go.
Yeah, I said it right.
Got
okay,
it.
Cool.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
So you're the reigning Miss DC USA 2025. How do you leverage that platform to amplify the issues you care about? And before you answer that question, I had Octavia Bellinger on here. Are you familiar with Octavia?
No.
She was
in the
mix. Yeah. So she was, she works out there in DC as well. She was one of the, I don't know if it's the same pageantry that you guys do, but she was in the same space of the DC 2024 or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I think I need to connect y'all too. I feel like
definitely should connect.
Y'all need to know each other.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all both in DC?
Both in DC. Y'all both doing great things. And it seemed like y'all could probably build a solid structure within each other, both in that beauty pageant space and the social justice and community space. So I definitely want to connect y'all too.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'm always looking to get more in the community.
Cool. Let's do it. All right. So you're the reigning Miss Black DC 2025 USA 2025. How do you leverage that platform to amplify the issues you care about? I think you talked about it a little bit. So how's it been the last few weeks with flexing that DC 2025, Miss Black DC 2025, and getting your work done?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I just say it's an easy way to get attention, and when I have people's attention, I can start talking about and nerding out in the things that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really helpful especially during Women's History Month. I did a Read Her Story Women's History Month literacy campaign where I promoted Black and other women of color stories on different platforms. And so it was amazing to be able to have the opportunity to get the media leverage to do that. So I was able to go on the news. I went to the Children's Hospital. I did story times. And I tried to do those things without the title and know how much harder those barriers are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been good to have people pay attention to me that I don't think would have otherwise looked twice my way, even though my message was always going to be the same.
Yeah, them titles do a lot, don't they?
Yeah.
Big time. Look at my little cousin. She's an amazing woman over here in Wisconsin. But she's Miss what is it? Miss well, her name is Willow.
Wisconsin.
Willow Newell. Yeah, so she Miss Wisconsin, my cousin here, and she's definitely been on a tour all throughout the state. So yeah. I see how she's in a space now. She can use that voice to amplify so many people. So we'll definitely be in contact with her to push to get out the vote too.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
All right.
So pageants are often seen as glitz and glam. How have you transformed the platform into real social change?
Yeah, when people say pageants are a lot of glitz and glam, but also pageants are life that's just put on a stage. There's nothing that you prepare for in pageantry that you're not preparing for in life. Being judged on your appearance, your ability to communicate your ideas effectively, your talent while doing that, getting your message out there, your personal branding, your platform are all things that you need in your regular life. And so I always tell people pageantry is a leadership development platform. It is a training ground for being a change maker. Mm-hmm. And so when people are like, oh, you're such a good public speaker, it's because I do pageants. I feel like if you're impressed with anything I do, it's just because I refined it doing pageantry.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you gotta polish it up. Cool. Like I said, looking at Cuz, she polished her skills up. She came on here. It was a well-spoken interview, which I expected anyway. We come from some great speakers in the family, but also, she just, you could tell that, like you said, it's a place for her. I think she even mentioned something like that, where it was a place for her to, get her skills on point. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she talked about it was a place where she, sharpen up those skills that she'll be using throughout her, professional life and as a, as a Miss, what would you call it? A pageant winner.
Yeah. So yeah.
Going to the next for you. Thank you for that answer, Crystal. How do you balance the responsibilities of your? Well, you know what? We already said that. We're gonna go to CBC. It's time for CBC.
Yeah.
Doom, doom, doom. Let's get to the good stuff. CBC. You recently hosted an event down there, right? And during the CBC weekend. Can you tell us about your event and the goals and focus of that event, please?
Yeah, so I hosted an offsite panel on resilience through reading, and I had myself and I had some other local women. Like I said, one of my sorors who is a school counselor. She also runs a She Reads, She Leads book club in Virginia, as well as we had a children's book author who is the chair president for the Arlington School Board. And so we had a panel about what literacy has been looking like in the schools, what are the budget cuts looking like, what are the changes that are coming down the pipeline for both reading and for mental health within school services, and sort of what can be done to adapt and be resilient on that. Like I said, the other panelists shared that the school district that she's on the board for is facing budget cuts. And the first things that are on the chopping block to get cut are those add-on and enhancement programs like reading, tutoring, after-school programs, and things like that.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing that's going on in all across the country, where it's just different places getting cut. We were just talking right before you came on how there were some cuts to deaf and blind programs that'll be going on and things like that. So we've definitely seen those cuts, and just a lot of those cuts we've seen in the past, from whether it's recreational arts, things like that. So it's always great. It's always important to focus on what the students are needing, and how can we even if those cuts do come into play, how can we pick up and do something in the community, have an arts program, have a some type of literacy programs for more of the youth in the community. Enough for me talking. It's back to you, Ms. Nisha. Thank you for that too, Chris. Appreciate that.
Okay, so why is CBC Weekend such an important space for leaders, advocates, and community organizers?
Yeah, and so I love that you asked that, because I think a lot of the criticism of State of CBC Week, people don't really understand what it is.
Yeah, I think they just think it's partying.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they really do.
And so I guess if you mind, I'll take the CBC Week is really a colloquial term. Maybe we've all done ourselves a disservice. For the Congressional Black Caucus is where the Black congressional members caucus within the Congress. Well, there's the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation that puts on scholarships for students as well as for their fellows, and they put on the annual legislative conference every year that we all call CBC Week, where they bring together their Congress people as well as corporation sponsors and stakeholders to talk about some top policy and legislative issues within our community. And so it's really if you want to stay abreast on what's coming down the pipeline in any industry, from energy, gas, oil, tech, healthcare, education, mental health, this is kind of the place where you can see the cutting edge stuff, the cutting edge programs, and also what changes are happening. And so it's good to, if you want to stay on the trends.
Yeah.
CBC is always. I just think that it was like we was talking yesterday. I tell anybody, if it's something that you feel that you got a passion for, you can find it at CBC, and you will be able to come there, go to CBC, and get the opportunity to meet with people, with like-minded individuals that want to work in a space like yourself, and you be able to take some game or soak some knowledge up and take it back to your city. And that's really what it's about. Like we had one of the minority leaders or representatives here on the show yesterday, Mr. Kalen Haywood II, guy from Milwaukee, and he's represented us at the state as well. And he was saying, you come back from CBC, you want to, you come back energized, refreshed with new ways, new strategies. And that's what I feel that's what I like the most about it. And you also see, like we were saying yesterday, you're not the only one in the fight. You see everybody working in the stuff that we be doing every day, Nisha, and the stuff that, with how we on the ground and how you've been on the ground for years. You see those people, and like you said, you've been there years ago with your story with Chris Tucker. She had a Chris Tucker story last week, Crystal, that you missed. Nisha had a story from CBC. I think we all got a little story with running into celebrity or interacting with a politician or a famous politician or somebody from out there. So, CBC, we talked about the CBC. I guess jumping down a little bit into some of these questions. How do you see events like yours contributing to broader conversations about literacy, resilience, and representation on a national stage?
Yeah, I think my hope is that people understand that literacy directly has an impact on mental health, that the literacy crisis is the mental health crisis. That's what I want people to know. And I really hope my conversation, and if I continue to have the conversations, that is what people can take away, is that these are not separate issues, and that when we continue to treat them like they're separate, we continue to silo our, as we do, increasingly limited resources. And we continue to silo, our increasingly limited attention. And so that's why I brought educators, therapists, people who are in both spaces together to have this conversation together, because it is a dual conversation. And I think I've seen it. So many people want to silo, education to just educators, or mental health to just therapists, or youth. I even see in like the youth leadership, youth development, or like juvenile justice space, they only want to focus on older kids. But I mean, these kids can't read at 16 because they couldn't read at 6.
Yeah.
Frankly.
That's real. No, that's real. No, for real. Like, no, all the way. Like, I see so much online, and they play a lot of these games, and they pull up on people and having them read certain things, or having them. Yeah, it's the literacy crisis is all across the country, and especially in our Black minority areas, and specifically in our Black spaces. We all know probably somebody now who has an issue with with reading. And now that they're an adult, they don't want to admit it. But yes, that's been an ongoing issue even since all three of us that's on this call and on this video have been and prior to that. And it's not because they had any issues; it's just the proper way of, or the schooling, or like we say, we always talk about on here. A lot of issues start at home, and even the literacy issue starts at home. You go to school all you want, but if a person's not teaching you or showing you the basics before you get to that school age, you're not setting them up for that proper literacy path.
Yes. Thank you. And I think so many people, I think obviously we know it's hard out here for parents. It's hard out here for all of us. And so I think a lot of people want to be like, this is on the school. This is on the school. School readiness, though, is a concept. And the school can't put your kid at a reasonable bedtime for you. If this kid needs 10 hours of sleep, that's on you as the parent to make sure they're not falling asleep in class because they can't learn anything. And I think what's frustrating for me as a social worker who's worked with mostly children and families, but worked with people across the gamut and across social issues. I've worked as a therapist. I've worked as a forensic social worker. I worked most recently as a national nonprofit as a early care and education health specialist. And I can tell you across domestic violence, homelessness, crime, all of these issues, literacy is at the core. I've worked with clients who were facing a number of issues, and when they could not read, that significantly held them back from progress.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, we see it in the court systems all the time. People don't comprehend what's going on when they get them papers pushed on them. And, a lack of, money to have proper support, and just having a public defender, and depending on what state you in, and you may not understand what's going on, or if you got to read something on your own going through a system or anything, whether it's buying you get in the car, you may have the money, but if you don't understand what they put you through, look, you just signed on for 15% interest rate. Whatever,
pay $100,000 for a $20,000 car,
right? Yeah, and those type of stuff. It may that's crazy, and it may not be as crazy as that, but yes, it will be. Yeah, like you said, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on a $20,000 car, or $100,000 on a $20,000 car is nuts. Yeah. So thank you. Go ahead, Nisha. Back to you.
So your initiative has reached hundreds of young people. What's one moment that reminded you why you think your work matters?
So I did a read aloud at the Children's National Hospital here in DC, and several of the patients had come down to story time, and one of the moms afterwards had asked if I could talk to her daughter, who's kind of off and really quiet, and her daughter had sickle cell, has been in and out of the hospital, and also on top of that, which is already hard enough for a teenage girl, she was saying her daughter just didn't, has been struggling with her appearance, has been in and out of the hospital, so she's not feeling cute, her hair's not done. And she was just really struggling with this, low self-esteem, and asked if I could talk to her. And, the mom was just telling me how much it hurt that the daughter would talk about herself this way. And it really resonated with me because it was the exact kind of conversation that I was having with my mom at that age about my appearance. What she was saying, her daughter was saying is exactly how I felt at that time. And so I told the girl that, you're looking at me and I'm like, wow, she's Miss Black DC, she's this, she's that. And I'm like, when I was your age, the exact things you were saying are exactly what I'm saying. And so keep that in mind that and I told her, I was like, do not limit yourself to what you think of you. You are much more, you are much more expansive than the limitations that you place on yourself. And I think having that moment and knowing how much I was hurting when I was her age and being able to really resonate and empathize with her and, knowing how she looked at me and hoping that really hit with her really meant a lot to me.
That's impactful, right? She is never gonna forget who you are, too. I just love hearing them type of stories because that's where it counts. Those youth that get that extra support from somebody coming from the outside, especially a Miss 2025 Black DC. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, so we getting towards the end. I got that much time for you, but real quick, what's next for you, both professionally and with your advocacy work? And how are you building on the momentum from the CBC weekend?
Yes, so that's actually a perfect segue. So what's next is Resiliency Reading is officially turning from this initiative I've been growing these last 2 years into an actual nonprofit. And we are starting our first pilot program that I announced at the panel that we're hoping to find a funder for, but it will be partnering with another nonprofit, Mental Health Boxes, and I will be curating and providing books for the Black girls that those boxes go to through their school partnerships. So it'll be reaching a whole bunch of Black girls throughout the Southern region, and I'm really excited to get this project launched. And hopefully people really resonated with my conversation at CBC, and somebody knows somebody who believes that Black girls' literacy and mental health is worth investing in.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Thank you. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. We got to get up out of here real quick, but I'm gonna be in contact with you to talk some more, and I look forward to hearing from you some more. So thank you again, Krista.
Yes, Thank you so much for having me. Have a good one, y'all.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank you. All right, that was Crystal. Y'all be a voice radio, Wisconsin Voice. We'll be back next week with more guests, more interesting topics. God bless y'all. Enjoy y'all day. Be safe out there. Enjoy the weather. Peace.